everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I'll be doing a review of Barbarian, which was a horror film that came out this year. Saw it back in November, and it's taken me this long to finally sit down to actually do a review for this film. But before going any further, though, please make sure you smash that like button, that fire button, honestly smash the rumble button as well, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with the bell notification on. That way you know every time the video or live stream goes live on the channel. So I first off want to start off by giving a shout out to 20th Century Studios for sending me a review copy of this to watch and to review, though I also of course want to make it very clear that they have not paid me for this review, nor have they approved this review before going out, so I will give my honest assessment of this film. I think it's important always just to be very upfront and forward with those. And so Barbarian is a film directed by Zach Kreger, which got a lot of attention as it featured a very, I would say, effective trailer, which made people ask the question, what in the world is this film gonna be about? In the age where Airbnbs are all the rage, what would happen if you happen to double book an Airbnb with a guy who looks kind of creepy, who kind of looks like the clown from It, as it is very much played by Bill Skarsgård, which I thought was a great touch to this actual movie. And just the casting choice alone, to me, kind of raised the level of this film to be even a little bit more creepy because it made you ask a little bit more questions, giving a little bit more of a background of the film itself as far as the story is concerned. I have here the letterboxed, description. Stay for a night, some stay for a week, some never leave. Ooh. In a town for a job interview, a young woman arrives at her Airbnb late at night only to find that it has been mistakenly double booked and a strange man is already staying there. Against her better judgment, she decides to stay the night anyway, but soon discovers there is much more to be afraid of in the house than the other house guest. And so as the film kind of indicates, there's a lot more to this specific house than what originally is being indicated. The general story that unfolds is that there is this underground layer essentially that exists, and there's a lot of creepy things that happen in this underground layer. And I'm trying to talk about the film without going too much into spoiler territory, because I do think that as the film unfolds, you are just kind of along for the ride. One of the things I like about the story the most, though, that I don't think is as much of a spoiler, is that you get to a point about halfway through the movie where all of a sudden you jump from one location to another, and it's almost as if the story restarts, but now you're starting on a brand new character, getting some development, getting some understanding of where he's coming from, and then as the course of the rest of the film goes on, you of course get him connected to the story and find out about his role within the story and about why he is relevant in the story itself. And I think that it's something that's so jarring but done so effectively that it actually works. Some people I've seen in some reviews say that they did not like it. They found it a little bit too jarring. They found it a little bit too on the nose. Personally, I thought that it was actually pretty well done for the most part, and it was, again, one of those genuine things where you're watching the film and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I think I know where this film is going, and oh, wait a minute, it seems to be kind of reaching this climax, and then all of a sudden it subverts your expectations. We live in that age, right, where many filmmakers try to subvert your expectations just for the very sake of it. It's nice when it's done in an effective way, and I think it actually helps to benefit the story versus hinder it, because it does indeed take you away from a pretty creepy, climax moment in the actual movie itself. But I think what it ends up doing is it ends up kind of letting you take a little bit of a breath, let you get a little bit of a breather in to be able to kind of process what's been going on, and then at the same time start off fresh with a new character that's being introduced and to get a bit of an understanding of him. One of the things I like about the film also is the fact that the acting is fantastic. So the main performance comes here from Georgina Campbell, who plays the lead, who plays the woman who arrives at the Airbnb. She plays the character of Tess. Bill Skarsgård's Keith is in the film as well. He does a great job. Justin Long is a character called AJ in the film, and as you can see, there's also some other characters that exist with different names. You have one, of course, being called the Mother, and I'll just let you think about what that potentially could be and could mean for the actual film itself. Now, one thing that I will say that, and one of the reasons why it's taken me so long to do this actual review, is that I actually watched, after seeing the movie, I watched a review that kind of pointed out the fact that the story itself is actually kind of a modern commentary about how women are in the world versus how men are in the world, the way in which that the main actress, the main character of Tess is being portrayed versus the characters of Keith and AJ, played by the two other men in the film, kind of helps to, basically create this narrative, as well as the overall creepy narrative of, again, the history of this house, how this house came to be, why this house exists, and the original owner of this house, and what the the original owner of the house actually did, again, kind of also brings into this, this type of misogyny in a lot of ways. And I see the points that were trying to be made for that video, and I think that one could absolutely read that into the movie itself. But ultimately, I think that if one goes into this movie just appreciating it for a horror film and just appreciating it for a psychological thriller at best, because again, I'm not one that's really into horror films as much. If you see my review of Smile, you kind of hear me talk about that a lot. Whereas this film, though it has some horror elements to it and some very, very creepy imagery, it does also lend itself to more of being a psychological thriller. It makes you think, it makes you ask questions, it makes you try to figure out the answers on your own. And then it also can, as the world expands, as you realize more about this specific house in this location, and then you see the setting of what's surrounding this house and some of the other things that happen within this neighborhood, I think that it really does kind of just raise it to an entirely new level. So I think that if someone wants to read into that kind of that woke narrative, that again, I think one could absolutely read that and read into that. But ultimately, that did not really take away. Luckily, I saw that after the film, because I think that if I had seen that before the film, and if you have not seen the movie, I would say try to, maybe keep that out of your mind, because ultimately, I don't know how much of that played a role in the actual writing of the film, or whether that was just someone trying to read into it a little bit too much. Because with all that being said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. As you can see on my Letterboxd, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, which ultimately for me is about I kind of leaning towards a B+ grade for this movie. I thought that, again, the writing was very, very solid. I thought the writing was very creepy. It was very weird, but I think in a very good way. It's not necessarily going to rock your socks off as far as being anything that's necessarily new in the genre. It's not like groundbreaking in the genre, but it does what the genre expects it to do, but it does it well, effectively. There are some twists and turns along the way that you don't necessarily see coming, and I think that it ultimately leaves you, as an audience member, satisfied with the conclusion of the actual story itself. Some people will love this film, some people will hate this film, some people will be kind of in the middle. I'm again, even though I'm giving it a B+, because I think there are some really well done elements. The cinematography is also very, very well done. The score is also, I think, very effective in conveying that sense of creepiness to the movie itself. And I think the ending song, the credit song, is also very, let's just say, very appropriate to kind of the quirkiness of the story and the quirkiness of the movie. But I think ultimately it's well worth a watch. You can watch it right now on HBO Max. It is, of course, available also on PVOD and VOD as well. You can get it on, again, all the major platforms. And those are all my overall thoughts about Barbarian. Again, overall, I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's a film I could totally see myself watching again, probably during the Halloween season. I will say I did watch this before going on a long trip where I had to stay at an Airbnb, and I think that was probably not the best choice necessarily. Luckily, the place that I stayed did not have a creepy door leading to a basement and a basement within a basement or anything like that. So, hey, at least I had that going for me. But what are y'all's thoughts about the film? Have you seen Barbarian? Again, it's been out for a long time now, and now that it's on HBO Max, it's available for most people to be able to watch. And if you have seen it, what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy it? Did you kind of get that, again, that almost that feminist vibe, that misogynistic vibe that other reviewers have kind of pointed out in this film? I think that ultimately it might be a bit of a stretch. However, I definitely do see, again, to a certain extent, where they are coming from. The film itself did not cost all that much to make, $4.5 million, and made $45.4 million at the box office. So it made, again, a decent amount of profit back on its investment. And it's really nice to see films like this being made still. Again, this is, I think, something where Disney could learn a lot to try to take films like this and make more of them, smaller budget films with very just interesting stories, nothing necessarily completely original, but interesting enough, compelling enough to be able to bring a certain group and a certain demographic out, right? People who are fans of horror films, people who are fans of thrillers out to go see and support your movies. I think that's the ultimate way of going forward, giving people like Zach Kreger a little bit more time and attention, maybe even just not a lot of money, because I don't think you need it, to be able to make a very interesting, compelling story. The visual effects as well, I think that especially the practical effects being used on, let's just say, one of the creatures in the movie, I'll kind of leave it in this generic way, I think is very, very creepy. I would also say, just as a Catholic, very inappropriate. I would say that this is definitely not going to be a film that I would recommend to those who are not comfortable with having a lot of things shown of the individual person, especially of, if nakedness bothers you, for instance. There is a lot of that, and it's very, very creepily done. But again, I just want to give a forewarning about that. But the actual makeup and effects, I think, on the creature itself is actually, I think, pretty well done for what it is, though, of course, I would have preferred it to go a little bit of a different route as far as the actual design of the character is concerned. But those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button, light up the fire button Odyssey, and smash the rumble button as well. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge special shout out to all of my December Patreon, Subscribe Star, and Locals members, the long-awaited December video. First off, shout out to my Patreon members, Father Luca Illich, Garrett Searles, Heimir Irie Hymason, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, who you can check out over on his YouTube channel, Jonathan Carney, Laura, the Modern Major General Story, Orange Hour Views, who also has a YouTube channel you can check out at the same name, Rosetta Allen, who has a YouTube channel known as Eagle Rider, Miss Martin Muses, who also has a YouTube channel by the same name, Chris from the 80s, who you can also find on YouTube by the same name, and of course the Empress of the Universe, Tina B, who you can check out on her YouTube channel, Tina B. She does a show with the other Valkyrie of this channel, Stephanie B, called Soup to Nuts, so go ahead and check that out if you are interested. It's a very fun time talking about movies and all kinds of movie history as well. Also, shout out to my Subscribe Star peeps, Matt317, who you can check out over on his Twitch channel by the same name, the R, Fast Reaction, Mr. Roy, J-Rod, the Beer Guru, and the K-Man, who you can check out on Twitter, but also on his website, xtheboundaries.co, to check out his latest music musings, as well as his upcoming podcast as well. Also, to my Locals members, Miss Minnesota Hockey Fan, How About a Hockey Player, UAB Mad Dog, Mike Jackson for the win, J.H. Schwalbach, Brett D90, and the amazing lawyer, Robert Barnes. Thank you very much for being my supporters over on Locals. If you want your name shouted out at the end of every video and live stream, please check out the top link in the video description below, where you can sign up to get access to not only vocal shoutouts, but also to giveaways of Blu-rays, 4Ks, and Blu-ray sets as well. Right now, I'm giving away things like Nobody on 4K. I just got a bunch of ones in last night. Shawshank Redemption on 4K last night, in Soho on 4K. Some steelbooks of the Godfather trilogy on 4K as well. Tons of stuff to do for giveaways, so check out, again, that top link to find out how to sign up to become a Keep It the Bifrost level or above to get access to that, as well as things like the Chosen of Valhalla monthly member stream, and also other goodies like the podcast that I do with John the Flick Pig Flickinger, which we'll be recording our episode for this month in the next day or two, so be on the lookout for that if you are a member of the Army of Asgard level and above. Thank you all very much for your time and attention. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your December, and as always, God bless.